So this is the Astro A50 headset.
Yes.
These are kind of like, I want to say like more or less industry standard in terms of gaming. Like I would say the majority of game events I've been to are outfitted
That's very
with.
sweet of you to say.
I have a set of the kind of previous model, but those came out like 5 years ago, and these ones are suddenly wireless.
Yeah, these are actually a pretty crazy upgrade. So, I mean, if I can just
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, I mean, the A50s have been out for a while, and we have gotten a lot of feedback on them. You know, people really love them. Some people had issues with them, and so like
You mean like feedback from the community, not
yeah,
like audio feedback?
No, yeah,
that'd be bad news.
Yeah.
The mic's too close to the earphone.
You're too quick for me. No, I'm I'm the community director, and so like part of my job is to listen to what people are saying, and it's not always nice, and so we kind of listen to what our fans wanted, right? And it was about changes, and so we wanted to redesign the A50s and kind of create something that was an improvement on what we had already done. So if you were saying like these are kind of the standard, we really wanted to raise that bar.
So first things first, I think it's really cool how you have sort of customization. This model doesn't have the sort of the customizable tags that the A40s have. Everything's kind of built in there, but you do have this thing where you can pop out the what are these called?
Ear cushions.
The cushions.
Yes.
Ear cushions. The muffs. But yeah, and then you've got these leather ones that snap in.
So this is a mod kit right now, and so you have the choice between the cloth ear cushions, which we developed for pro esports players.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be really comfortable, allow you to wear the headsets for a long time. Get rid of ear fatigue. Here, let me actually show you.
They are very
this is a nice
soft and
time for a
nice.
tutorial.
Yeah.
To get the headband off, it's really easy. If you pull on both sides, you're actually increasing the tension on both sides exponentially. So what you want to do is just grasp it on one side and pull at one piece, and it'll just pop off.
Well, there we go. But yeah, so this is obviously, this kind of works with everything. You've got a PC version, PS4 version, Xbox One versions of these, but there is like an adapter kit, and of course it works with PC and.
Right. So I got it backwards.
Here, raise it up a little bit.
Oh, right here.
There we go.
Show this guy on camera. It's just hard to put the headband on.
So you basically you made like Transformers inspired headsets, basically. That's really awesome.
So the PS4 version is also PC and Mac compatible, and so is the Xbox. So there's really two versions. We did that because we wanted to make the headset fully wireless on the Xbox One, which requires a chip in it that allows for communication. And so we had to release the Xbox version and the PlayStation version. But we are, we're super happy about having access to chat on Xbox One.
Yeah, finally, it's really cool. So one of the things that I've gotten into recently is PSVR. Obviously, VR. Sound is kind of more important than ever.
Yeah.
Where does Astro sort of fit in with all that?
Well, okay, so in VR, we're playing a lot in that space right now. Our headsets are, you're looking great, man. Our headsets are amazing for VR. We have, Dolby Digital encoded into Dolby Headphone 2.2, I believe, and so that allows for like a really full soundscape, which is exactly what you want in a VR setting. Now, most VR audio is controlled also by the algorithm of the game and the VR headset itself.
Right.
So PSVR, we actually recommend A40s for that because all of that audio is driven off of the 3.5 audio jack coming out of the breakout box. And so if you want that true directional audio, we're definitely going to say the A40 TR is the best headset for that. And the fit for this, you can kind of see the tube design here. It actually fits perfectly over VR headsets, and so you're not really going to get any interference with the way the headset fits on your head.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be kind of interesting is designing these headsets so that they work with the average gamer who's playing video games, but also like these funny helmets coming out every few use it now, and it's like, well, you want to make sure it's not like snapping over it. I've specifically had problems with the Sony official headsets. They just kind of crack. So these look a little bit more sturdy than that, and I'm very happy about that.
Boom. So you got to get the mic hole lined up right there.
So let's talk about sound in general when it comes to video games, because I feel like in many ways it's more important than ever in the way it's designed. But on the other hand, you have people who are playing games on their phone and they might not even hear a single sound coming out of it. I've been playing this Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes games on my phone. I've never heard it once. I played like 30 hours of it. Just played it on the train.
Yeah, I actually played. The weird thing, it's got the Star Trek music playing the entire time.
Really?
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, they gotta fix
that.
That's
nonsense.
So, I mean, how important do you see sound becoming or continuing to be in the world of video games as people are becoming more casual with it and more hardcore with it at the same time?
So first of all, audio has always been important. It's like the way we communicate things, and it's not just the way we communicate, verbally, but there's also audio cues in both game and in life that you listen for that aren't just words that you say. So audio is highly important, but it's also one of those things that we're such visual creatures that we don't always realize what audio adds until you don't hear it and then you do again. So like take, we were talking about VR. If you've ever done VR without audio, it's a flat experience.
Yeah.
Like you just don't have that same immersive experience. But when you have ambient audio that's really kind of surrounding you and giving you that immersive experience, suddenly it's so much easier to buy into what you're seeing. On mobile, yeah, I think that audio is still pretty important. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts Unchained right now.
Right.
And I played that without audio for a long time, but we also make, A38s are mobile headphones. And I finally put those on the train one day and was playing because I ride up from San Jose every day. And, it's just suddenly the audio was there and I could hit every time I was hitting something with a keyblade, you could hear it, and it was just like, it added something to the experience that was missing. On mobile, I definitely agree that you can get away with it, but it just feels like the experience isn't it's missing a dimension when you don't have the audio there.
Sure.
So, things like Halo, right? Like we have a guy we love working with. His name's Legion. He's an amazing, one-on-one just Halo player. He just is crazy awesome. But at the same time, like he has learned to do things like listen for audio cues in the game. So he can tell what gun you've picked up. So he can hear if you pick up the sniper rifle. And he's like, okay, I'm going shotgun and getting in your face because you just picked up the sniper rifle. And then you'll switch out a gun and he'll be like, oh, you just switched to the shotgun. Okay, well now I'm going to use this on you. And so it's just like you can just play with him and he just knows these things. And that's that level of audio that people don't realize are there in the game. But if you can tap into that, like it actually enhances your ability to play the game.
I really love that.
One of the big tips I heard early on about getting competitive with shooters is a good set of headphones. And like Counter-Strike players being like, you gotta listen for footsteps. And I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna play this competitively. I don't think that's gonna work out too well.
You don't realize it, but until you actually hear someone coming around the corner before you see them, like you don't realize how much that leads into what you do. Like and it's a natural thing, right? We hear someone coming and we turn to see what it is. Even in a video game, if you can get that spatial audio correct, you will actually start to adjust the way you play without realizing that it's something that you're doing. And it's something that we talk about a lot in the office is that like you look at a TV, I just bought a nice curved TV. I won't mention the brand or anything, but
it's an Astro.
Yeah, look for it in 2018. So I put a ton of money into this TV, and then you go and you mount it on the wall and you go through all this work. But then you look at the TV and you realize that the least expensive thing on the TV are the two crappy speakers that it comes with. But that's still what most people use because you can get on Call of Duty and other games and you can actually see who has a headset when they're gaming, and you can tell. Like,
you can hear them breathing in it.
Yeah. But you could tell who has the crappy $15 speakers on their TV and who's actually using a headset.
It's kind of nuts too because I think that a lot of people, it's definitely one of those things where you don't really realize what you're missing until you have it.
Right.
It's the same way you go to your parent's house and you're like, you have an HD TV hooked up to like an SD cable with like an RV switch on the back, whatever the hell it is. And then, like, you actually try.
You're an audio expert, I see.
Exactly, the RV switch. It calls in a large car that you can live in. But a lot of people don't realize that, and I, for a while, just used the speakers on my television because I'm like, these are fine, But because TVs have gotten better and better, their speakers, their sounds, I think, have gotten worse, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just tinny and.
And it's just. The better the picture gets, you go 4K, that kind of stuff, but audio has always lagged behind as far as TVs because they're TV manufacturers, they're not audio manufacturers.
Sure.
They want you to have a better experience. They want you to have a theater system or a headset that does like a surround sound.
If you give a mouse a cookie effect, where you're like, I just spent several $1,000s on a TV, and now I have to spend more and more $1,000s on
crappy
surround
TV
sound
speakers.
things.
Fuel the industry. They
Now,
want you to spend
I play PSVR with surround sound systems sometimes, but you were saying that it's like there's actually cues and things that I'll miss in that sort of setup.
So the way it's set up is all of the audio comes out of the breakout box, the directional audio. So if you're talking to me in VR, like you're a character in VR, and I turn to one side, suddenly you're going to be on the right side of me if I'm plugged into the breakout box. But if I'm drawing off the optical cable or something else, that audio is going to stay directionally in front of the way I'm looking, because it's not coming out of the box that's actually feeding out the directional audio. So.
Did these guys go to like sound school? Like how?
Probably.
I eat lunch with engineers every day, so it's just like I just listen.
That's awesome. So pricing, release date.
So the A50, it's still $300. So we added a bunch of new technology to it: the charging base station, the mod kits. We retuned the audio.
That is so satisfying, by the way. That
the little drop-in. If it was plugged in, you could see that it automatically charges and starts syncing to the device. So there's no more buttons to push to sync the headsets together.
Yep. Nice.
The one thing that we're coming out with in probably about the January-ish time is that we'll be selling the base stations independently of one another, so you can actually have an Xbox base station and a PlayStation base station and just drop your headset into it, and suddenly it's a Xbox headset, and then you put it into the PlayStation 1, it's a PlayStation headset.
This is a PS4 model, right?
This
you
one
can
is
tell
a PS4,
by the
yep.
blue tubes.
There's a green Xbox One model as well.
Cool.
Both are fully wireless, and we've added full sound card capability on PC with these, so you can just plug in via USB. Beautiful. No more need for audio, and it draws Dolby 7.1.
You guys gonna make a red one for the Nintendo Switch someday?
No comment.
No comment. I tried. I did my job.
And what are we looking at in terms of battery life?
We got about a 15-hour battery life on this bad boy.
Cool.
Now, battery life was super important to us. I hope you don't mind if I go a little long-winded again. I definitely like to talk. I'm not sure if you guys.
That's better than a guest that hates talking.
If I get tired of it, I can always just put these on.
So battery life.
So as battery life was an issue, one of those things that people definitely complained about and we wanted to address, right? And so as we design, Astro's design philosophy is always about how to solve problems. And so as battery life was looked at as a problem, we're like, how do you fix that? Bigger battery, great, okay, now it's 15 hours. And you would say, okay, great, you solved the problem. But that's not really the problem, because we looked at how people use the headset, and half the time you're using a wireless headset, the charging station or where you're plugging it in is nowhere near where you're sitting.
Right.
And you're gonna just take the headsets off and you're gonna put them on a coffee table, you're gonna put them somewhere else.
Yep.
We have an accelerometer in this headset, so if you take the headset off and you leave it on and you set it down somewhere, if it doesn't detect movement for 30 seconds, it's gonna auto shut off and go into a low power state.
Wow.
When it goes in that low power state, at a full charge, it'll last, from what I'm told by engineers, about a month before you're gonna have to throw it back on the charger.
That's nuts.
Right?
That's like a
the
like a DS.
Right, and the magnetic conductive charging was the other point to battery life for us, is we wanted to make sure that it was easy for you to charge. You didn't have to go find a USB cable, you didn't have to plug it in somewhere. I'm constantly having to switch out, like, okay, I charged this for long enough, now I gotta throw my phone battery on the USB charger. And so, so just having it at a place where it's like, look, you don't have to have a stand for it, you don't need anything else, you just plop it in and it is charging as soon as you dock it.
Awesome.
Then you always know. The other thing, the final piece for it is, you can't see it because it's not plugged in right now, but there's a readout on the front that has 4 status bars that shows how much battery life you have.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
So you'll never pick up your headset and wonder, am I going to have 15 minutes of gaming or 15 hours of gaming left in my headset?
In your ear or whatever.
Right. So as soon as you put it on, those lights are going to light up, and you're going to know, I have 4 bars, so I'm fully charged, or I have 3 bars. Or if it's flashing and red, then it means that you maybe have 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah. So you're going to have to charge it at some point.
Cool. That is fantastic.
Thaddeus, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
Where can people find out more? It's just astro.com?
Astrogaming.com. You can
Astrogaming.com.
follow us on Twitter at astrogaming or
And
Instagram.
these are available at like all major retailers and stuff like that?
Yeah, Best Buy, GameStop.
There we go.
Cool. Off our website.